This media clip is going to help you understand the first assessment task. So first off with assessment, if you could come to the assessment block and click on the personal professional response to wellbeing link. So when you go there, you'll find the information that's pretty much in the course profile. So before you commence your assignment, you should print off the course profile and have that with you and read through everything related to the assessment, especially when the due dates are, why the due dates are when they are, all the information in the course profile regards to assessment you need to know right from the very first week, right from the start. So spend some time before you do anything else really making sense of the course profile. Then I want you to come to this link here. The next thing I want you to do is to go to this link here, which is the assessment criteria. Now this is another really important document. What you'll see here is the criteria down this side. So that's what your assignment is going to be marked against. Are you showing that you have developed a thoughtful and persuasive personal and professional response to well-being? And is it based on contemporary research and reading? And are you showing that you're engaging in self-reflection? And are you articulating things that you value and coming up with some principles that are going to guide your approach to well-being? So that's one criteria there. The second criteria is, does this assessment task reflect that I have knowledge and understanding of key issues related to well-being and social emotional learning? Am I personalising this? Which means, am I not just regurgitating what the literature says, but am I linking that and making connections to my own life and my own experiences and what I know? Am I offering examples to illustrate what I think this literature is saying? So you're going to need to obviously be mentioning well-being and social emotional learning and personal and social capability. And I guess you need to take care of all the information. So it says across different educational, personal and social contexts. So if you're a secondary student, then you're going to be reflecting on this information in the light of your desire to work with adolescents in that particular setting. You're going to be reflecting on this information in terms of your own personal and social context, so perhaps the local community in which you live. So they're the criteria. The final criteria is, I guess, very important. It's where you demonstrate that you have effective scholarly and personal communication, that you're using professional language and demonstrating that you have literacy competence. So if you're not a great writer, it's really important that you contact the Student Support Centre and the Academic Learning Centre staff and get help with that. Now this first assessment task can absolutely be written in first person. Of course we want you to take a scholarly approach. It isn't going to be so informal that it's just random thoughts. It's going to be informed by contemporary research and reading. So make sure you include references. Make sure you are demonstrating that you've engaged with many of the reports and the research and the reading that's already been found for you, as you will find when you venture into Topic 1 Reading and Research link there. Now, these things along here are the grading descriptors. So this is the criteria on this column here, and these are the grading descriptors. So very often we decide, okay, I want to I'm aiming for a high distinction here. This is what I want. So it's a good idea to read through, okay, well, what does the high distinction look like? Okay, so I've got to really comprehensively address the demands of the task, and I've got to use imagination and creativity, and I've got to demonstrate mastery, and so look for the key describing words. It's always helpful to read the other descriptors first. So for the pass mark, you can see the difference. This is saying I'm showing some awareness of and I'm discussing well-being, whereas this one's saying I'm comprehensively addressing. I'm demonstrating mastery with regard to discussing and understanding these things. So look for the differences. What defines a pass? What defines a credit? What defines a distinction? And what defines a high distinction? Obviously, you don't want to be aiming for this fail column over here. Okay, so let's see if we can go back to the assessment. Okay, so you'll find that the assessment task 1 has two aspects really. And remember that when you go to the topics, you'll find these links progressing your assessment. So for the first assessment task, in particularly the first 5 topics, you'll get hints and tips about how this topic links to your assessment and how you might use the information in this topic to support your assessment. So there's lots of information there to help you. So assessment task 1 has two aspects. The first one is a discussion of well-being, pretty much, and you're discussing it in terms of what does contemporary research say, what does the literature say, and what does all this mean for education? Okay, so well-being is about quality of life, but how does that link with learning, and how does that link with the Melbourne Declaration and our national goals for education? Again, we want you to consider the particular setting that you're going to be teaching in. So if you're an early childhood student, focus on early childhood. If you're working at TAFE, then TAFE is your focus when you're discussing some of this. So that will influence the research and the literature that you're choosing as well. If you're early childhood, you're going to be looking more to what the research and the literature is saying about well-being for maybe infants and toddlers or for very young children. So keep that in mind. So in aspect 1, that's been outlined here in this first section. So when you're discussing well-being, you need to really engage with the research and the literature to discuss your knowledge and understanding. So make sure you reference ideas. You're not just referencing the Moodle site, go to original sources. And you're going to maybe not just be discussing well-being, you might find that there's a whole lot of other concepts that link to that. But at the very minimum, what you're going to be doing is making sure that you're looking to literature-informed definitions of well-being and the related concepts, and topic 1 will help you with that. You're going to examine current understandings and theories about the importance of well-being, the importance of positive mental health, personal and social capability. What does Akara say? What does Castle say about social-emotional learning? So demonstrate that you have awareness and that you've examined these. So there's a difference between awareness and examining. So clearly, through your conversation in this assignment, you're going to be demonstrating that you've consulted and engaged with course materials. Now, I've neglected to mention that this first task is a biggie. It's worth 60%, so that's huge. That's a significant assessment piece, and it's also due in week 5 on the Thursday before Good Friday. So you need to stay focused, you need to have a study plan, and you need to be working on it right from week 1. Okay, so once you've engaged with the literature, what you need to start doing is discussing, okay, so what? What are the implications of all this for students and for educational outcomes? How is this relevant? What do I think about it? You're going to discuss the role of the educator and the knowledge that educators might need, and perhaps the partnerships that we need to have with parents and community if we're actually going to be successful in promoting well-being in schools and the educational environments that we work in. You're going to identify and use, where relevant, relevant wellbeing related policies and reports and research and educational frameworks and curriculum. And again, the first 5 topics will have found and located and given links to many of those already for you. So it's just a matter of you finding the time to digest those, read those and digest those. What we're hoping that you will do, though, is begin to examine strategies and structures that actually support supportive and caring learning environments that support pastoral care and that support curriculum and pedagogy. So we want you to just move beyond identifying the policies to actually go, okay, as I look across these are the sorts of strategies that keep appearing. These are the sorts of structures and whole school approaches that continue to be repeated, that are important. So you're going to be discussing how learning and well-being are inextricably linked to one another, and how you might enhance protective factors in your classrooms and learning environments. And it'll be great if you can offer some valued examples, things that you've seen or things that you do or things that you think are really useful strategies. So in this assignment, you're starting to identify your values and guiding principles for how you're going to promote well-being in the setting that you're going to teach. Now, aspect 2 is a discussion and reflection of well-being in your own life. And after you've engaged with that, you're going to talk about resulting insights about how you have and are and will enable and optimize well-being for yourself and ultimately for your learners. So in this section, you've got unlimited scope for how you're going to study and reflect on your well-being. So you might consider things like your subjective well-being, the strengths that you have, and identify those and reflecting on them. Examining your personal and social competence and capability. Perhaps you might look to your past or present, and if you want to set goals, your future coping skills and the self-care that you're taking of yourself at the moment as a student, and that you will need to take care of yourself as a future educator. So as I said, you can write in first person. It's important that you write in first person. Please don't feel you've got to disclose any sensitive information or history. You can keep it general in nature and keep it values driven. What we'd like you to do, though, as part of your reflection, is represent or illustrate your wellbeing experiences in a variety of ways. So you might tell some stories, you might include some anecdotes or examples, you might include a timeline of a particular time period in your life and people that helped and experiences that supported the development of your strengths, perhaps. You might want to include a memory map or a concept map or a diagram. You might want to engage with the online tools and questionnaires and surveys and things that are found in Topic 2 activities and also throughout the module topics. So where we've asked you to reflect on your emotional intelligence, your reflection on that could actually be included in aspect 2. If you like, please include images and photos or drawings or metaphors of what well-being in your life looks like. So at a minimum in this section, we want you to represent and reflect on your well-being experiences. And part of this will link to the first section here, where you're actually going to respond to these contemporary understandings and theories that you've identified up in the first section and personalise them. You're going to, of course, show by the data that you include here that you've consulted with and engaged with the course materials. What you need to demonstrate is that you've reflected on your personal characteristics and strengths, that you've looked at your experiences and your community contexts and individual and family contexts and the people and relationships that have supported your well-being, that you've looked at the protective factors in your life and that you're identifying those, so that you're actively identifying this is what supports my resilience and my coping and my self-care. So determine and communicate how these well-being experiences are informing your ideas now about well-being and how they heighten your commitment now to providing opportunities for your learners to experience well-being, how your own experiences heighten your commitment to providing and promoting supportive and caring relationships and a supportive and safe learning environment, and how you're going to be using your own experiences to help learners reflect on and practice and transfer their social emotional skills. And finally, you're going to communicate your personally valued principles or approaches that you believe facilitate staff and student well-being, that you believe will help promote self-care and build positive relationships, partnerships and connectedness. You'll be able to submit your assignment online, so you will upload your files here, and good luck.